We're now going to construct the mizzen mast. Many of the challenges with the main mast will be the same here, so I won't repeat everything that we've already gone through, just to show you some of the quite little differences as it applies to the mizzen mast. We're going to use the same stock that we're going to cut before. In the previous video I had talked about trying to get the stock as close to the rail size. The truth is, it doesn't matter. Once it's bigger, you're putting it on a lathe and you're going to cut it down, or you're putting it on the sliding table and you're going to thin it down. So it's better to have stock that's bigger than smaller, and it really doesn't matter which ones you use. We'll go straight on to the sequence. The most important thing to remember is when cutting square sections, you need to leave that to the last in many cases, simply because when you come to the sliding table, you need to have a flat surface on two sides to be able to reduce the size of the square. If you're on the lathe and you're cutting circular, it really doesn't matter. You just need two ends that can hold in the lathe on both sides. Much the same as the main mast, a few little differences. These pieces that we need to put at the bottom, one fairly straightforward. When you come to the mizzen top, there are two little there we go. Two little pieces that we add here to support the mizzen top. And then this is the only difference, is that you have one of the sides of the square that is rounded, and that you need to just make a note that that's the forward section. And the rest of it is relatively straightforward, so we won't go into too much detail here. I had so much breakage using the fixed cutting tool that I put the hand gouge fitting on and started to use my hand gouges to cut the thinner pieces, and it really gave me a much lighter touch, and because of this I think I only broke one piece while carrying out the whole exercise on a mizzen. So, you know, I would suggest you do this as we go forward on the mizzen. Of course, the real fine work is still done with sandpaper. The sharper and the fresher the sandpaper, the more you're going to take over and the easier it is to do. We've just finished the last one. This is the top of the mizzen. Really very delicate, 2 millimeters here, 2.5 millimeters here, and we're going to square off the end here and then just cut off the top. And one of the nice things about this, you may or may not recognize this is one of the failed masts, various parts. I can't even remember which one at this stage. So I have been able to use quite a number of the pieces that for one reason or another didn't work out. So never throw away your mistakes. They may come in very useful later on. We're going to cut this stock down to 2.5 millimeters square. So I know I've done this before, but I'll just do it one last time so you get a reminder of how easy it is, in fact, to make these parts. Just to go through it again, the first thing you do is you're going to set up the depth of cut. It doesn't matter the thickness of the stock. You start low and slowly raise. You can see there's a little adjustment screw here. Raise that up until your vernier caliper gives you the correct measurement. Now that that's done, you set the line at the back, because you don't want to go past a particular spot. So you can set the stop just to take you to that. And then afterwards, It's simply a matter of pulling the tabletop through and cutting it off. One of the ones that I made an error on, so just to remind you, is you want to leave a little space at the end here, because the depth of cut is based on it sitting on the saw on two ends, and if you take this end fully off, then you're going to have that sort of thing, and you're going to get a poor cut. So here we are. You'll see the little piece. This has to come off at the end. This is the most important part, because without this, as I said, you would really mess this up. And there are quite a few of these that I messed up because I wasn't thinking and I cut it clean. And now we're going to just take it off. I'm sure I've sold a lot of these for Proxon by now. It's a tool that I've used almost every day in the build. And again, I can't recommend it enough. She's now complete. We just need to cut it off. I'm just going to go through it in reverse now. So here's the top gallon. In the little grill, and the top mast for and the main lower mizzen. So everything comes off. We're going to finish all these parts. There are lots of little pieces that we have to put in, and you should be able to dry assemble everything so it all fits well together. So there we go. I'm going to start putting all the various parts on and finishing off the mast. So we're going to start with the easy ones. Progress is slow, but it's coming piece by piece. You think you've cut these things perfectly, and then when you try to fit them, you find it's not so perfect. So we're just taking our time, doing it piece by piece, and it's getting done. The last piece is on, so it's really just to let it dry, and then we'll sand it flush and just clean up. Then all that's left to do these two little half rounds, which I'll prepare now, but which we'll put on when we're actually sticking the piece onto the mast.